5 progesterone myths that might be keeping you stuck even if you're doing everything right. And I see this so often in clinic. Now, progesterone is your dominant hormone after you ovulate. It allows for implantation to happen and the establishment of an early pregnancy. So if your progesterone levels are off, it could be quietly working against you and stopping you from getting pregnant. So myth number 1 is if I'm ovulating, I'm producing progesterone. Now, this isn't entirely correct, because you may be ovulating, but you may not be producing enough progesterone or being able to sustain that progesterone for long enough to allow implantation to happen. Myth number 2, if my blood tests are normal, then my progesterone's fine. There's a big difference between normal versus optimal when it comes to progesterone. I see some doctors tell women, oh, your progesterone levels are fine if it's greater than 6 nanomoles per litre. Your progesterone needs to be optimal to support implantation and allow for pregnancy to happen. And I'm talking greater than 40 nanomoles per litre or greater than 15 mgs per mil 5 to 7 days after you ovulate. And this takes us into myth number 3, is testing on cycle day 21. Now, testing on cycle day 21 is great if you ovulate on cycle day 14, but we know that only 10% of the women do that. Progesterone peaks 5 to 7 days after ovulation, and it's this peak in progesterone that we want to be measuring. So you need to be coordinating your blood test results, knowing exactly when you ovulate and getting your progesterone tested 5 to 7 days after ovulation. Myth number 4 is your luteal phase length doesn't matter. It really does. We need to allow enough time for that embryo to travel down the fallopian tubes and implant into the endometrial lining. So if you're getting your period 8 to 10 days after you ovulate, then you may be getting pregnant, but there's not enough time for implantation and the embryo just gets washed out in your period blood. Your luteal phase length needs to be at least 12 days in length with no spotting, and that takes us to myth number 5. That is, spotting before your period is normal. It is common, but it is not normal. Spotting before your period is a sign that your progesterone levels are dropping off too soon. And so again, it's not allowing enough time for implantation to take hold and that pregnancy to establish. If any of these myths sound familiar, you're not alone, but they could be the reason that you're staying stuck. I'll show you how to support progesterone levels properly inside Ready Set Implant. Check out the details below.